One of the Sahaba says, we fought the Romans and we fought the Persians. By Allah, we have never seen fighting more fierce than the fighting of companions to each other. Before, they used to fight people who were fighting for the sake of the dunya and for fighting for other reasons, so the Muslims could break them, even if they were outnumbered. But now, it's people who are fighting for Allah, meaning people who are fighting for Allah. That's why the fighting was so fierce and so intense. So then Ali, as we said, attacks the heart of the army of Muawiyah. And between Muawiyah and the army of Ali, there were 5 regiments. And Ali broke the first regiment, and then the second, and then the third, and then he defeated and crushed the fourth. And when Muawiyah radiallahu anhu saw this, he became scared, he became worried. And at this point, 70,000 men had been killed from both sides. 45,000 from the army of Muawiyah and 25,000 from the army of Ali. So Amr ibn al-As saw defeat, so he made a suggestion to Muawiyah. And some books will tell you that this incident is fabricated, but this is the authentic incident. And it's in al-Bukhari, and it's also in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad. Habib ibn Abu Thabit says, I went to Abu Wa'il, and he tells him, we were in Siffin when the fight with the Syrians grew fierce. And then Amr said to Muawiyah, send the scripture, meaning the Quran, to Ali, and call him towards the book of Allah. And he could not refuse it to you. So the army of Muawiyah sees that they're losing now, and they want to end the battle, or they're going to lose for good. Amr ibn al-As told him, the best way to end the battle is to raise the book of Allah, and say, let the book of Allah judge between us. So then people started to put the Mus'haf on top of their spears, and they would hold it up and start yelling, let the book of Allah judge between us. Some people agreed with them. Some people disagreed, from the army of Ali. A group said, how can we refuse? Who would refuse that the book of Allah be used to arbitrate between people? So they agreed. And amongst these, they were headed by Al-Ash'ath ibn Qais al-Kindi. And others they refused and said, it's only a trick. They only lifted it when they saw that they're going to be defeated. And this was the opinion of Ali radiallahu anhu. So he said, let's fight and let's end this now. This is only a trick because they're going to be defeated. And others were saying, how can we not respond to the book of Allah? And Ali sent to Al-Ash'ath. Al-Ash'ath, we said, he is of the head of the group who said, we accept. Ali radiallahu anhu sent to him, saying, woe to you, what are you doing? And Al-Ash'ath tells him, they called us to the book of Allah and we accept. So they stopped. And then Ali radiallahu anhu couldn't control the situation. So he sends to Muawiyah. He says, what do you want? And Muawiyah says, between us and you is the book of Allah. So he tells him, why raise the Mus'haf? He says, let us go to what Allah commands in His book. So Ali says, how? Muawiyah says, we send a man from your party, and we will send someone from ours. And then get them to go by what is in the book of Allah, to judge by what is in the book of Allah. And then we follow what they agreed to. So they go to Ali with this proposal of Muawiyah, and Ali refuses. And the people of Iraq, they accept. And Ali tells them it's a trick. So the people threw their swords down. Even though Ali radiallahu anhu, he was of the wiser opinion, and he was almost victorious, and he was going to end the fitna, but it shows you the seriousness of disobeying your Amir. Ali radiallahu anhu said one thing, and they said the other. And he was of the better opinion, radiallahu anhu. So then Muawiyah's army sent Amr ibn al-As, and the army of Ali, every time Ali radiallahu anhu suggested someone, they refused him. Even Al-Ashtar, who was the leader of Iraq, one of their nobles, Ali at the end said, Al-Ashtar al-Nukh'i. And we said he's one of the people of fitna. Even him they refused him. And they said, we don't want anyone except Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, because he is a man of good opinion. And you remember we mentioned earlier, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, when he was the governor, and Ali radiallahu anhu came to him at Kufa and asked him to come out, what he told his people? He told the people, this is a fitna, don't go. And he started telling the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, and he told them not to go out. So now they saw that this is actually a fitna, and there's so much killing, and we should have listened to Abu Musa. So they said, we won't accept anyone except Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. So they went to him in his place, and they found him, and they brought him to represent the army of Ali. So now we move to the negotiations that took place between the party of Ali and the party of Muawiyah. And there are many false narrations concerning this. Amr ibn al-As radiallahu anhu was known for being one of the most intelligent and quick-witted of the Arabs. Amr ibn al-As and Muawiyah were one of the most quick-witted and intelligent of the Arabs. It is narrated in an incident that one day they challenged each other in this. They were sitting, this is before these incidents, they were sitting in the gathering, and then Muawiyah claims to be of the most quick-witted of the Arab. And Amr ibn al-As challenges him to that. So then Amr ibn al-As asked everyone in the room to leave, if they're going to have a battle of wits now. Everyone in the room leaves. And then Amr ibn al-As tells Muawiyah, I want to tell you something. Come close. And then he comes close. Come closer. And then he comes to him and he tells him in his ear, he whispers to him in his ear. He tells him, why would I have to whisper in your ear if there is no one in the room besides us? So Amr ibn al-As was very intelligent and very quick-witted when it comes to these things. So they chose him to be the representative of the party of Muawiyah. But because he was known for being quick-witted, you find many false narrations concerning this arbitration, that Amr ibn al-As tricked Abu Musa al-Ash'ari into saying, I don't want Ali, and then he removes his ring and he says, I remove Ali just as I remove this ring, and then Amr ibn al-As says, I affirm Muawiyah just as I affirm my ring on my finger. These are all narrations that are like fabricated about this incident. So now the army of Muawiyah radiallahu anhu is united and they're satisfied and they return home. And Ali radiallahu anhu returns in an army, but it's boiling. And when Ali returns to Al-Kufa, 12,000 leave his army. And they go to a place called Harura. These people, this 12,000 who left the army of Ali, they are known to us today as Al-Khawarej. But back then they were referred to as Al-Haruriyya, after the place in which they all began to settle, which is Harura, which is near Kufa in Iraq. So they stayed there, and they went to Zayd ibn Hisn, and they asked him to be in charge of them, and he refused. And then they went to Yazid ibn Asim, and he refused. So they leave now this 12,000, and they have a group there, and they left the army of Ali radiallahu anhu. Notice that not a single Sahabi went out with them, because they had gone astray. So not one Sahabi went out with the Khawarij. They come to Ali radiallahu anhu and they tell him, what is this that you have done? Meaning the arbitration. So Ali tells them what you asked for. And there were amongst them people who wanted the arbitration. And Ali didn't want it. And they forced him to it. And they said, we refused it. We didn't want the arbitration. And then he points to the people who wanted it. He says, those forced me upon it. And I didn't want it. So they told him, this tahkim is not valid. And by that they meant the fact that you put two people to arbitrate and to make this decision regarding the religion of Allah. That we should just follow what the Quran says, and we shouldn't have two men decide in this affair. So they told him this tahkim is not valid. And they asked him, are you fighting upon truth or upon falsehood? And he tells them, upon the truth. And they say, if you fight upon truth, then how do you agree to this tahkim? This is nothing but misguidance. And the decision is for Allah. And there is no judgment for humans. And they said, what becomes their motto from there on? لا حكم إلا لله. That there is no judgment except to Allah. And they start to spread this in the army. And even those who wanted the tahkim, now they don't want it. So 12,000 split off from the army of Ali. And this was in the beginning of the Khawarij. And amongst the leaders of the Khawarij, Shibth ibn Rub'i, the messenger who was sent twice to Muawiyah, and he caused problems twice, and now this is the third time he's causing problems. So amongst their leaders was Shibth ibn Rub'i, and they gathered under Abdullah ibn al-Kawwa al-Yashkuri, and they put over their army Shibth ibn Rub'i. And then they said that the issue is shura, consultation, and the bay'ah is only to Allah, and we enjoin good and forbid evil. So Ali radiallahu anhu sent Abdullah ibn Abbas, and he debated with them. And Ali radiallahu anhu himself also, then after the debate of Abdullah ibn Abbas, he goes to them also to talk to them. And he goes to one of their leaders, Yazid ibn Qais, and he prays 2 rak'at in